All right, so today we're diving deep into Bangkok.
Ooh, Bangkok.
Yeah, a city that just has so much to offer.
I've heard it's incredible.
It really is. And we've talked about Thailand before, but today we're focusing in on the Bangkok district.
Okay, cool.
And more specifically, like the Jim Thompson house in Thai Silk.
Okay, so like fashion and textiles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're ever in the area,
Mm-hmm.
this episode is actually brought to you by the House of Pot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a cannabis dispensary over on Asylum Road.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're looking for a little extra something to add to your trip,
Right.
the address is actually down in the caption.
Okay.
So if you're interested, you can check that out. But for now, let's get back to Jim Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
So Jim Thompson, he wasn't actually Thai, right?
No, not at all. He was an American.
Really?
Yeah, and he was an architect.
An architect.
Yeah, and he totally fell in love with Thailand in the mid 20th century. And get this, he is the reason that Thai silk is so famous today.
Wow. So he was like a businessman or something.
Yeah, he had a really good sense for business, but he's also super passionate about Thai culture.
Interesting.
So, back then in the 40s and 50s,
Mm-hmm.
silk weaving was like a dying art.
Oh, wow.
And it had been around for centuries, like a real tradition.
Yeah.
And Thompson saw how important it was,
Yeah.
not just, to make money, but also to keep this part of Thai history alive.
So what did he do?
Well, he went straight to the source and worked directly with the local weavers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he helped them bring back these old techniques, and he even mixed in some Western designs to make it appeal to more people.
So he was modernizing it.
Exactly.
Wow. And speaking of old, new, the Jim Thompson shop is in the Bangkok district, right?
Yes.
Which is where the historic part of Bangkok meets the modern city.
Exactly. It's this perfect blend of the two.
Like the silk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So for someone who's never been to the shop, what kind of stuff can they find there?
Oh, so much. You can find fabrics,
Okay.
clothing,
Mm-hmm.
decorative items, all made from this beautiful hand-woven silk.
So it's high quality.
Oh, yeah, the best. You'll find pieces that are super modern and chic,
Okay.
But then you'll also see stuff with traditional Thai designs and patterns that have been passed down for generations.
So it's a good mix.
It really is.
So if you had to pick just one thing to get at the shop, what would you recommend?
Oh, that's tough. It's like picking a favorite child.
Uh-huh.
But honestly, their silk scarves are amazing.
Okay.
A lot of them have traditional Thai patterns, but they're designed in a way that you can wear them with anything.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like wearable art.
And a nice souvenir.
Definitely.
Before we get too far, I do want to remind everyone that this episode is sponsored by the House of Pot.
Oh, right, the dispensary.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And it's actually not that far from the Jim Thompson house.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's in Siloam. So check out the address in the show notes. And, if you're looking to relax after a long day of sightseeing,
Mm-hmm.
they've got you covered. Now, going back to the Jim Thompson shop you mentioned earlier, that bargaining is a thing there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, what's the deal with that? Should people, be prepared to haggle?
Oh, absolutely. Bargaining in Thailand, it's not just about getting a lower price.
Really?
Yeah, it's part of the culture, It's
Uh.
about building a relationship with the seller,
Okay.
showing respect for their work,
Yeah.
and finding a price that feels good for both sides.
So it's not just about, being cheap.
No, not at all. It's more like a friendly back and forth.
Interesting. I feel like a lot of tourists don't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's just about getting the best deal. But in Thailand, it's more about the interaction.
That makes sense. It's that idea of harmony and balance that's so important in Thai culture.
Exactly.
So overall, what would you say is the most important thing for our listeners to know about Jim Thompson and his impact on Thai silk?
I think it's that his legacy is about way more than just pretty fabrics.
Okay.
He helped to revive an entire industry, but also this really important part of Thai culture and identity.
Yeah.
And by combining tradition and modernity, he made sure that Thai silk would continue to exist in the world. It's a source of income for people, and it keeps this ancient art form alive.
That's awesome. And it really reflects the whole vibe of Bangkok.
Mm-hmm.
This mix of old and new.
Definitely.
Well, this has been super interesting.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot.
Me too.
Before we wrap up, I just want to give one last shout out to our sponsor, the House of Pot.
Right.
Their address is in the caption, and they're located in Siloam. So if you're into that kind of thing, definitely swing by. And if you're ever in Bangkok, the Jim Thompson house is a must-see.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And when you're there walking through those rooms surrounded by all the colors and patterns, just think about how that mix of tradition and modernity shapes the city. It's not just about what you see, it's about the whole feeling of the place.
That's a great point. Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the world of Jim Thompson and Thai Silk.
Thanks for having me.
And to all our listeners out there, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.
Bye.
See ya.